What do you want to do really, really well? What do you want to master in life? Do you want to learn how to master playing an instrument, guitar, drums, maybe? Or do you want to master a new language? Do you want to master a business skill, such as speaking in front of a camera and making videos like this? What is it that you want to master? Chances are there's something that you think, I would love to learn how to do that exceptionally well. Or maybe you're going through this process right now. You're trying to master a skill right now. Well, if you are, it's important to understand that whenever you go from where you are to mastery, that whole journey is a process. And it's not something that lasts just a week or two where you can look at it and say, you know what, after a week or two, if I'm not just nailing this, if I'm just not getting it right, I'm going to quit. That's just not the way it works. And so what I want to share with you is this process, how it works, kind of get your mind in the game of achieving mastery. And the way that I'm going to share with you how this is done is, first of all, I'm going to read you a short little quote or story from an American broadcaster named Ira Glass. He talked about the journey from where you are to mastery once before, and he explained it better than anybody I've ever heard explain it. But after we read his short little story, I'm going to explain to you what he means by using this C-clamp. And I'm going to explain how mastery is achieved using this contraption here. So stick with me. Okay, so here's what Ira Glass had to say about achieving mastery. He says, "Nobody tells this to people who are beginners. I wish someone had told me. All of us who do creative work, we get into it because we have good taste. But there's this gap. For the first couple of years you make stuff, it's just not that good. It's trying to be good. It has potential, but it's not. But your taste, that thing that got you in the game, is still killer. And your taste is why your work disappoints you. A lot of people never get past this phase. They just give up. Most people I know who do interesting, creative work went through years of this. We know our work just doesn't have that special thing that we want it to have. We all go through this. And if you're just starting out or you're still in this phase, you gotta know it's normal, and the most important thing that you can do is a lot of work. Put yourself on a deadline so that every day or every week you create something or do something in regards to that thing that you're trying to achieve. It's only by going through a volume of work that you will actually close that gap, and your work will be as good as your ambitions. And I took longer to figure out how to do this than anyone I've ever met. It's going to take a while. It's normal for it to take a while. But you've just got to fight your way through. Isn't that awesome? Closing the gap. So let me explain a little bit, not too deeply because Ira explains it really well, but let me explain to you essentially what he was trying to say using a visual aid. So Ira was saying when we want to achieve mastery in life and doing anything, we start where we have this taste. We have taste. We look at something and we think, that is awesome. How that person is playing the guitar is amazing. How that person speaks two languages is incredible. How that person is standing in front of the camera and doing videos is mind-boggling to me. So that's our taste. So we start out, we want to do those same things, but we start right here, our current abilities. And there's this gap in between our current abilities and our taste. And this gap is what disappoints us, because when we start creating work, when we start playing guitar, when we start speaking another language, or when we start standing in front of a camera and doing videos, this is our current abilities, but our taste is right here. And this gap is called, we'll call it the disappointment gap. It's not fun, because being here, creating this kind of work is like doing crummy garbage work, and we see that I know what good taste is. And what Ira is saying, though, is that in order to close this disappointment gap so that our work is as good as our taste, we've got to do a lot of work. We've got to create, We've got to practice. We've got to get past our fears. We've got to do things that we don't want to do. We've just got to do it day in, day out. Each time that we do, we're moving our abilities closer to our taste, to the point where one day they're right there together and our abilities match our taste, and that's when amazing things happen. But this could take a long time to do, but you can't give up. You got to keep doing it. You got to keep turning it, creating things, taking action, and that is how you close the gap. So how do you use this? It's very simple. If you're in the process of wanting to achieve mastery with something, you see other people's work and you think, I want to do it as well as they do, or as close to the best I can as they do, then understand that you're not going to do it in a week. You're not going to do it in 2 weeks. You're not going to do it in a month, more than likely, unless you're a prodigy. 99% of us have to go through this process of doing a lot of work. And a lot of work is the only way you're going to close that gap. So don't give up. If you're feeling frustrated, it's not you that's broken. It's just the way that it works. And you've got to push through it by doing a lot of work. And so the next step is have a journal. Write in your journal the secret to achieving mastery with anything. Write that down. And then after you've written that down, draw a picture of our clamp, as you can see on the screen. And then label the different elements: taste, mastery, and action. And then draw a little arrow in between the gap between taste and mastery and put, I take massive action to close the gap. To achieve mastery with anything, your goal should be to close the gap.